Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of our tutorial on how to preview and upload multiple images. In the first video we saw how to instant preview and validate the image type and size. In this video we are going to see how to upload the selected images and track the upload process with a progress bar. We are going to start from where we left off. Let me first clear the screen and let's start coding. I'm going to start by catching the submit event. I'm going to target the upload form using the form's name. I'm going to add a submit event listener, and every time someone clicks on the upload button, a function will run. I will pass to the callback function as an argument the event object. The event object has a method called preventDefault. The preventDefault method stops the form submitting the data to the server. Now we can work with the data in the JavaScript file. Next, I'm going to target the selected images and store them in a variable. We know from the first part of this tutorial that the files property is holding our selected images. So to access the images, we use the this keyword, which has access to the form's properties. Then we use the images property, which is the input element's name attribute. And then the files property, which is holding the selected images. Next, I will check if there are files selected. I will check the length of the images array, and if it is 0, I will stop the function here with the return keyword. If we have selected files, I will create a new form data object to send the data to the server. Next, I have to add the images into the form data object. For that, I will use a for loop to go through every image file. Let me quickly explain how the for loop works. Inside the parentheses, we have three statements separated by a semicolon. In the first statement, we'll create a variable and set the value to 0. This is the loop's counter, and we'll start counting from 0. In the second statement, we have a condition like an if statement that says, as long as the value of I is less than the length of the images array, repeat the loop. And in every iteration, the value of I will be incremented by 1. Next, inside the loop, I will use the append method to add our images into the form data object. The form data object is structuring the data as key value pairs as a normal HTML form would, and thus the append method takes two arguments. The first argument is the name of the entry, and the second argument is the value. In our case here, we set the name to an array because we need a place to store multiple images. We're targeting every image from the images array using the for loop's counter as the key. In the first iteration, the value of I will be 0, so we append the first image in the data array. In the second iteration, the value of I will be 1, so we will append the second image, and so on. That's why we start the counter at 0, because in JavaScript the arrays are 0 based. That means that JavaScript indexes the items in an array starting from 0. Next, I'm going to create an XML HTTP request object, not only to send the images to the PHP file, but also to calculate the upload progress. I will use the open method to prepare the request. The open method takes three arguments. In the first argument, we're defining the HTTP method. We are using here post. The second argument is the PHP file that is going to handle the request. That is the script.php file. And the third argument is the keyword true. That means that the requests will be handled asynchronous. Next, I'm going to use the send method, and I will pass in as an argument the form data object. The send method is executing the request. Now I will go to the PHP file to catch the image files and store them in the uploads folder. Then I will come back here in the JavaScript file and write the upload progress tracking code and the server's response. In the PHP file, I will check first if the superglobal files variable, which holds the images array, is submitted. If this is true, I'm going to assign the images array to a variable named images. Now the images variable is holding a multi-dimensional associative array which holds the name, the image type, the temporary location, the error, and the size of the uploaded images. Let me show you how the images array is structured. Let's do a var export on the images variable. But to display the results in the browser, I have to make some changes first to the index file. I will submit the form to the PHP file. I will change the input's name to the data array, and I will comment out the script tag to disable the JavaScript code. I am doing this only to show you the structure of the images array in the browser. When I'm done, I will change everything back as it was. Now the form will send the data straight to the PHP file so we can display them in the browser. Let's select a couple of images and press the upload button. and here we see the images array. We see that every key is pointing us to an array. We have the name key that holds the names of the uploaded images. In index 0 we have the first image, and in index 1 we have the second image. We see that the type key gives us an array of the images formats. The temp name key gives us the temporary location on where our files are stored. We have the error that is 0 for each image. That means that there were no errors during the upload. And the size key that holds an array of each image's file size. Now that we know with what we are dealing with, we can take the information that we want from the array and use it to move the files to the uploads folder. I will need the name array and the temp name array. But before that, let's change back the index file. Let's uncomment the script tag, change the name attribute to images, and leave the action attribute empty. Now in the PHP file I will create two arrays. I will create an array that will hold the names of the images and an array that holds the temporary location of the images. Next I will create a variable that holds the location to where we move the files. This is the uploads folder. Next I will take the names array and the temp names array, and I will combine them together. I will use the array combine function, which takes two arguments, and that is the arrays we want to combine. The array combine function will return a new associative array. The keys of the new array are the values from the first argument, and the values are the values of the second argument. You will see in a minute what I mean. Let's see in the browser how the upload data array looks like. We see that the temporary names are the keys and the image names are the values. So the order in which we pass the arrays as arguments in the array combine function matters. Now this is going to make my life easier now because I can loop through the array and move the images to the uploads folder. Let's do this. I will use a for each function to loop through the upload data array. In every iteration, the temp name variable will hold the key and the image name variable will hold the image's name. Now I have to use the move uploaded file function to send the images to the uploads folder. The function takes two arguments. As the first argument, we pass in the temporary location that PHP stores the uploaded file, and as the second argument, the path to our uploads folder. And when the files are moved in the uploads folder, we send to the JavaScript file the server's response, which is the string success. Have in mind that if you want to use this script in production, you must first validate the images and then store them in the folder. Now let's go back to the JavaScript file and code the progress bar. The XML HTTP request object has a property called upload. We can assign a non-progress event listener to the upload property and track the upload progress. I need access to the event object, so I will pass it in as an argument. Let's do a console.log the event object and let's see what happens when we upload a file. Let's bring the browser in the screen and choose View Files. I will press the upload button and we see in the console that the progress event is firing up every few milliseconds, sending us the upload status. The progress event has some properties that I need to make the progress bar to work. Those properties are the loaded property, which gives us how many bytes are uploaded every time the progress event is triggered, and the total property, which is the size of the files that we are uploading. With those two properties, I can calculate the percentage of the file that is being uploaded. Now, if you take a look at the sidebar, you will see inside the uploads folder the images that we have just uploaded. That means that the PHP file is working as expected. Now, to get the percentage number, I will divide the event.loaded property with the event.total property, and I will multiply the result by 100. Next, I will round the percentage number, so I display an integer on the screen. And next, I will target the percentage number's placeholder and place the number inside. Let's see if it works. I will bring again the browser in the screen, reload the page, select a few images, and press the upload button. And we see the progress bar is working fine. Nice. Now let's catch the server's response. To do this, I will use the onload property. The onload property is fired when the request and response is completed successfully. Inside the function, I will check two more properties: the ready state property and the status property. To have a successful response, the ready state property must return a value of 4 and the status a value of 200. Next, I will use the response text property to get the response. And last, I will check if the response is equal to the string success. If so, I will display the success message. And now we are going to do a last test to check if everything works. I will be quiet. Nice, the progress bar is working. We see the success message and our images is stored in the server. But we are not done yet. There is a last thing that I have to do. I have to go to the clear preview function and clear the success message and set the progress value back to 0. And now we are done. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. See you in the next one.